This is Adamantly Analog, episode 59. This week we're talking about print and play games with Parker Simpson of Shiny Pigeon Games.
Hello and welcome to Adamantly Analog, a board gaming podcast. I'm your host, Harrison. Sorry. I ran out of voice ink. Hold on a second. I gotta go refill this cartridge. How's it going, Corey?
Hey, I'm good, and I'm full of voice ink, so I'm all ready to go.
Yeah. Well, I mentioned that really bad pun there because we're talking about print and play games today, right? And what about printers? Is they're always running out of ink, right?
Yeah, not me though. I have HP ink plan on mine.
Oh, there you go. That's where they mail it right to your printer, right?
And just take money out of my account every month.
Wish I had it like that. Goodness gracious.
Whoa, who's that?
Well,
hey, guess what? We got another guest this week, everyone. 3 weeks in a row, we have three amazing guests. This is Parker Simpson. Welcome, Parker.
Hey, how's it going, guys? I have a ink tank printer, not nearly as fancy as the subscription service, unfortunately, but never run out.
Well, jokes aside, Parker is joining us today to talk about print and play games. But before we get to those games, let's get to know Parker. Parker, you're with Shiny Pigeon Games. What is that, and what's your role in that?
Yeah, so I'm Parker Simpson. I'm the founder of Shiny Pigeon Games. We're a small indie board game company that just started in the last couple of years. I'm an illustrator by trade, and I recently got into designing my own games after realizing that one of the large components of board game design is sourcing artwork. Realizing that I could do that myself, I should try dabbling a little bit, and it's been a super fun journey. Really been enjoying dipping my toes into the water and kind of exploring what it means to do creative work in the board game space.
I'm not surprised to hear that you're an illustrator. Shiny Pigeon is all full of like these brightly colored visuals, and there's a real neat aesthetic going on for all of these games that I'm seeing.
Yeah, I try to match my design work with the actual game mechanisms with the kind of goofy, energetic artwork that I create. We just recently released our first boxed game called Trash Dash. We kickstarted end of 2024, and we're currently manufacturing right now. So I'm super excited to get that one on the shelves soon. Should have copies here in the next couple of months. So really excited.
Super exciting. Awesome. Congrats.
Thanks.
I was just looking at that one right now, and I just got advertised a free coloring sheet that is a digital download, so I might get involved in the design as well.
Yeah, definitely print those out and post your pictures of your coloring. But yeah, also in terms of printing stuff, I recently merged Shiny Pigeon Games with another company that I've been working with over the last year or so called No Box Games. No Box Games is a print and play company that I've worked with as an illustrator, kind of freelance, like on a freelance basis. And we've got our first release since the merger actually coming out this month.
You want to say what that's called?
Yeah, so it is Starfront Scouting Academy. It's a print and play game where you are planetary scouting cadets. You're in your practicum exams where you're actually going to an alien world and exploring it with this myriad of remote reconnaissance equipments that each go into a specific type of terrain. But it's got a lot of puzzly elements to it, the scoring mechanisms and that sort of stuff. My design partner, Chris Bakke, who I mentioned earlier, he's done a really fantastic job with creating a solid board game feel in a very tight print and play package.
Yeah, I would second that. I've played the game, and in fact, if you want to know more about it, hop onto youtube.com and look for our video on the how to play on Adminly Analog. I was impressed at the fact that it is an effective area control game in a print and play. And there's so many that are just these chains of combos and just crossing off, different unlocks and things. It's kind of a lot of tropes in print and play. And this one really kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? It just kind of subverted expectations as far as
Mm.
what you could do with it. And I thought it does have a very like board gamey presence to it while you're just operating on like three sheets of paper and like rolling some dice.
Yeah, for sure. I think you nailed it with the fact that there are some not pitfalls necessarily, but common ideas, tropes, mechanisms that print and plays do tend to gravitate towards. One of the great things about Chris's design philosophy is that he tries to expand on like the traditional mechanisms that you would normally see.
So you're mentioning like being able to explore all would feel like relatively unexplored mechanisms. Are there any personal like favorite games that influence a lot of the projects you're working on right now? Do you have any just other favorite games you want to shout out?
In terms of influencing my own like design philosophies, I don't unfortunately get to like be in the driver's seat as much as I like to, I guess. With Trash Dash, it was entirely my design, and that was what kind of got me into the world of design. But as I've focused more on like building the business and like figuring out the logistical side of things, I have worked on many of the projects that I've worked on since then have been co-designs with other folks. But I do definitely play plenty of games in my leisure time. They just they don't really bleed into my design stuff. Um, Recently, I was actually just at Dice Tower East, um, where I got the opportunity to play games for basically 4 days straight, which was
Nice.
oh, it was awesome. It was so nice. It
It's
was so nice
rare when it happens, but it feels great.
for sure.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, and typically at conventions, I'm running like a demo booth. So
Yep.
this was one of the first ones in a while that I've been able to actually just kind of leisurely play and just like play other games than my own. So
Mhm.
I got like 4 or 5 playthroughs of Deep Regrets through, which was really fun. I'd played it once before the show, but I have the full like Kickstarter version of the game, and it's so hard to get to the table at my locals because it's a bit of a bigger game than what we typically play. We typically stick to like party games or card games or whatever,
Oh, sure.
but getting to play that a solid couple of times was really fun.
Love the art on that one. I'm looking at it right now because it's for sale around here. So I only need to hear like two or three more recommendations before I pull the trigger on it.
Well,
uh,
definitely make sure you hit the Kickstarter because they're actually doing a Kickstarter right now for the expansion. Um,
okay.
they're adding a ton of new um, cards to the ocean setup. So like you've got all sorts of new fish that you can catch. But
Yeah.
the thing I'm most excited about is that they've got new upgrades. Instead of just upgrading your rods and reels, you can also get pets. So there's like a bulldog and a cat and a parrot and some
Mm.
weasels.
Oh, I hope nothing bad happens to them.
Yeah, keep them on the boat while you're fishing. But um, they look pretty tough. They can handle themselves. But that's what I'm most excited for is adding some pets to the mix.
If they pulled a cow carcass out of the water. Ew.
Yeah, there's some pretty wild stuff that you can fish out of the depths. It's very
Yeah.
eldritch. What
Nice.
have you guys been playing recently?
Harrison, I know you're just itching to share that.
Well, we'll talk about more of that on our next episodes, the real big ones from Origins that I haven't gotten a chance to play. But I did get a chance to play Galileo Galilei last night. The
Mm.
the new capstone one from SETI designer Thomas. Oh gosh, Hayek, is that his last name? I always forget. Check that up. Hollick. Oh yeah, Hollick.
I think it's probably Tomas. Tomas
Tomas.
Halek. Yeah.
Yeah, from the designer from the designer of SETI. So Galileo Galilei got to the table yesterday, and it did not hit the same way that I was hoping. I had very
Hmm.
high expectations after SETI, and it did a lot of missing for me. The
Huh.
game felt like it was a lot more about the Inquisitors than it was about actually searching for stars and doing cool stuff with dice to search for stars. Um, so on the plus side, the Inquisition in that game has teeth and will warp the game. Unfortunately, it just makes the game feel like it's more about the Inquisitors than the stars.
Hmm.
But it was a neat thing.
It
Cool illustrations too.
it is absolutely nuts that this guy released 3 games in 2024, and one of them is that one, which is highly regarded. I've heard good things about Tea Garden, and then SETI has already climbed into the top 50 on BGG. That's a
Yep.
good year for him.
Yep. Yeah. Well, stuff like that happens when you've been designing games for a super long time and you don't get anything to sign, and then three of your designs get signed at a time,
Yeah.
or you've signed 3 games in 3 consecutive years, and then they just all happen to publish at the same time.
Yeah, I guess so.
That can also happen. So.
Yeah, it can be weird with production schedules and stuff how things
Hmm.
like that happen. But yeah, SETI. I feel like every time I walk past a table, that's what they had at Dice Tower East.
Hmm.
It's more game than what I'm typically into, but like I saw it a lot last
Yep, yep.
weekend.
It's top 50 now. It's a classic. It's a modern classic.
Well, that always makes it more difficult for like subsequent titles to kind of live up to that. Kind of what you're saying, but you had really high expectations for it just because of
Hmm.
Mhm.
who it was coming from.
Yep. We also played with the player powers, and I don't think I
Mm.
would do that again. So I would recommend anyone listening, like, don't let my experience turn you off to the game, because it does do some really cool things, but I would recommend not using the player powers,
Mm.
because they felt some of them felt meaningless or a lot harder to use for a first time player, compared to others which were like very obviously had a straightforward hook, and then that player ended up skunking us. I think
Yeah.
I got 49, Keith got 48, and other guy got 160 something.
Oh
So
my
Oh
god.
yeah.
Yeah, one of those games.
yeah. Yep. And I don't take it as that to be normal. So definitely
No.
try it without the player powers for first time.
Well, we'll save what we've been playing for our next week's episode. But it's kind of nice to tease that Harrison has gone to Columbus Origins Game Fair, and we've had guests on for the last couple weeks, so he's been just like biting his tongue about talking about it. So I think he's just gonna unleash next week. Is my thought.
Yeah, basically, I'm not gonna be able to stop talking. But enough teasing next week, because Parker's probably not going to be here next week. Let's use Parker's time well, and let's go talk about some print and play games. All right, so this week we are talking about print and play games. These are games that you can get on the internets and print them off and then play them in your own home. You don't got to go to no board game store. You don't got to place an order on Amazon. You can just use a printer, or even maybe just a screen. Some games, you just maybe need a PDF up and then you can play along with it. Print and play doesn't necessarily mean printer, and it's become a pretty broad topic, or definition for any kind of game that you can kind of make at home and play, but still get that designed experience and the same level of thrill and fun as you would with a boxed game that you get from a store. So, Corey, I'm seeing we don't have a first player rule here.
No, that was your job.
Oh my gosh. Okay. First player rule. Who is the last person to look at the starry sky? Because that's the first player rule from Galileo Galilei.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Did any of you
Parker.
gentlemen look up yesterday? Or is it night right now and you can go look up in the stars?
I live in the city. I
No,
watched a
I
drone
certainly
show the
didn't.
other day. Does that count?
Uh, yes, it does count. Parker, you wanna one up that?
Nah, you got it.
All right.
That easy, huh? This would have been last week on Friday. Hey, cool. I'll go first. Set the bar high because my first one is a real banger. You guys ready?
Print one off.
Print one off. My first choice print and play game is Rise of the Oak Dell from Two Acorns Games. This one was actually in the hotness in the last few months on Board Game Geek. It's that big of a print and play title. It was kickstarted successfully so. It is a civilization print and play game, roll and write game that was designed by the same guy who brought you Terracotta Army, and that guy's name is, oh boy, I think it's
Yep,
Polish.
you set yourself up here.
uh, it starts with a P, and his last name is Fornal,
That's probably also not how you say it. So let's see if we
and
can
as well as Roman Kucharski.
hold on. I'm gonna drop it in the Discord chat right now, and we are not going to white boy our way out of this. Let's do our best to pronounce it.
Okay,
So there's one
how
for
do you?
you.
Okay, how to say it? We're gonna go through. This is gonna all be on the podcast. I will cut none of this. Um,
This quality content right here.
Shemislav Fornal. There you go.
There you go.
This is a civilization roll and write game, and it is just being released in the last week or so via download. But they're kind of rolling out these different maps and these different leaders that you can play as. The leaders are these asymmetric. Um, they almost look like they're based on real life people and historical figures, but they don't have names or anything, and they're just kind of sort of these generic portraits. So I don't think they are. But that said, you're going to roll the die. You're going to assess what sort of threat you have to be faced with, which is some kind of attack or dissatisfaction from your people. And then it tells you what kind of road you get to build across a map. And the road building is what determines what types of resources you collect. Building a road over a brown tile gives you the brown resource, which is like a hammer. And then on your turn, it's this big sandbox of opportunity to climb up some tech trees, build buildings, build a city, all of which increases your productions on the next turn, gets you closer to building wonders and scores you points in various different ways. So it's a pretty cool game, and as civilization games go, there's a lot of choices to make. However, this one is not complicated. I'd say it's solidly it's listed as a 3 out of 5 on BGG, but I'd say that's a lot more than I would have given it. It's really straightforward, and so if the civ thing is making you scared, then don't be. I mean, you can learn this game in like 5-10 minutes. I think it's inherently a solo game, but it looks like you can play with others in a solo like fashion, mostly just a race to the points. But I've enjoyed it so far. Looking forward to seeing some more leaders and some more maps roll out. That is Rise of the Oakdale.
Yeah, this one looks super cool.
Have you played the previous Oakdale titles? Because
No, I haven't.
it's
Yeah,
a
I'm glad you
trilogy,
brought that up.
is it not?
Yes, it is. It is a trilogy, and I neglected to say that because this is the third game in this series, and I don't know anything about the first two, but it looks like they're crediting other types of games as their inspiration, neither
Hmm,
of which are civilization games. So I think they're very different mechanically.
interesting. Yeah, I was just curious if there was like a continued narrative, or you feel like you're able to play the game without any previous knowledge about the other titles.
Oh yeah, for sure. I don't know anything about the previous titles,
Okay.
so
I'm
but
sure it would make it more interesting had you played the other ones, but that's good to hear that you can play it as a standalone. Very
yeah,
cool.
I will. I will have to check them out now. I'm inspired to explore.
Yeah, it looks like it's Villagers of the Oakdale, Dungeons of the Oakdale, and now this uh the Rise of the
Rise.
Oakdale. So it's
Hmm.
all in the same world. They all look to be solo or multiplayer, maybe print and play. I can't tell on Dungeons.
Yeah, I think
Um,
they are.
yeah, that's cool.
Mhm.
That's its own little universe, print and play universe to go explore.
Well, that's the fantastic thing about print and play though, is if you're if you're trying to get a trilogy of like boxed games, like that would be a pretty pity. But like with this one, I'm pretty sure because this game was only like $10 for the full game, I think. So like getting all of the all three of the titles would be like under $50, which would be fantastic to have uh that many games at your disposal, if you're
Mhm.
really invested in um, the designers
The
or
Oakdale.
the the lore of the Oakdale. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say the base game was $8, full game 18. That's with all the stretch goals and stuff. But you can get the whole trilogy for, you're right, under 50, $43, and it takes
Nice.
up zero space on your shelf. Just Google storage or hard drive space. But again, that is Rise of the Oakdale from Two Acorns Games.
All right, Parker, you want to take us to the first on your list?
Yeah, so the two on my list are fairly far removed from each other. The first one on my list is kind of the OG of print and play culture, at least in my opinion and understanding of how this genre has kind of come to be. Voyages by Postmark Games came out in 2021, but it is a roll and write game that kind of paved the way for the print and play genre. It was right around the height of like the shipping crisis during COVID.
Mm,
So it kind of hit at the right time and kind of scratched that itch that people were looking for. It was a nice no assembly game where you literally just grabbed a couple of dice and you were ready to rock.
You want to give us like a quick talk through of the rules? Like what do you do on a turn in the game, or how do you play?
Oh, sure. Yeah. So in Voyages, you're sailing around a map. You've got a single like ocean map in front of you with some like cargo space and stuff that you're doing. But you roll three dice and then you pick what each of them is going to do. If I'm remembering correctly, because it's been a minute since I've played it. One is going to determine the direction your ship is going. One is going to determine the speed at which you're traveling, so how far you go. And I believe the third one is some sort of resource that you are collecting. Um, and then as you're going along, you're just trying to get the highest score from like managing your cargo and your sailors and that sort of stuff. Really aesthetically pleasing game too, like nice, clean graphic design, like
Yeah.
very cozy
I'm
looking.
I'm very glad that you picked this one because I wanted to, and I wanted to go back and play it again. Uh, but all the files are currently on my bricked computer, and I have not
oh
gotten a
no.
fixed computer yet. So I was like, I could go buy it again. But I went to go another direction, which we'll get to later, but a different game that I'll talk about. So thank you for bringing it up because yeah, this was the same for me. Like this was what really opened my eyes to print and play being not not just like the poor man's version of board gaming. This is
Mm.
no, no. There's very good games. There are good games being made in this space with clever mechanisms and games that utilize this space well. And this game, designed by Matthew Dunstan, who is also the designer of Guild of Merchant Explorers, which was a Kennerspiel nominee last year, Golden Geek nominee in 2022. Very, very well received game that
Mm,
kind of feels like a roll and write in a lot of ways too.
yeah,
Uh,
that game's
from
incredible.
yeah, if you're listening to this and you're still not convinced that print and plays are worth your time, go out and play some print and plays. And Voyages is a great place to start.
This would be the one to go and try out because this I really do feel like this was a like a pivotal moment for a lot of people to see that like, oh, this is actually fun. Like
Yeah.
this can be a enjoyable experience, and I didn't have to spend $30 on a board game. I didn't even have to leave my house.
I'm looking into Matthew Dunstan a little bit. I did not realize he designed Monumental, which is like a big war game. But there's a whole bunch of really cool and right games in his portfolio here too. Next Station London, Harrison, you taught me that one. That's a good one.
I love that one. Yep.
Yeah, 52 Realms. I saw that one on Board Game Geek last year. Yeah, so lots of stuff. It's cool. I will have
Yeah,
to try this.
Postmark's done some really cool stuff, and while Voyages may not be like the quintessential best print and play game, like it really does hold that spot for me as being like the most significant, even if it's not necessarily like the quote unquote best. You know what I mean?
Nice. Well, that seems like a great transition segue to Harrison's first pick. Sorry.
It sure did. Yeah, yeah. So, speaking of Postmark Games and Matthew Dunstan, yeah, the reason that I didn't go buy and rebuy Voyages, even though Postmark Games totally deserves my $5. I want to support what they're doing. I went and spent $5 elsewhere on 52 Realms Adventures, which is one of their more recent breakout successes. So I think this one was trending on the hot list for a while, and it won. Oh gosh, what was the Roll and Write award from last year? It won a
Best
bunch of
rolling right.
awards. Yeah, best. No, it's not a
I
Roll and
don't know.
Write though.
Oh.
Yeah, so it won a bunch of awards. So 52 Realms is a solo only. So this isn't like a 1 to 100 players or just solo competitive. This is actually just a solo game, and you are exploring a dungeon using a deck of cards. So this doesn't require roll and write. If you had any concerns about print and plays being all roll and writes, don't worry about it. We got you covered here too. So I've printed out only one sheet of paper, or sorry, two sheets of paper because it's two sheets. But I've been able to play the game multiple times. I don't need to print out a new sheet every time I play. So 52 Realms is a dungeon crawler where you are a hero trying to defeat a boss monster and get as much treasure as possible by using a deck of cards. And so each round you're kind of move to a different chamber, which you mark with a coin or a cube or whatever you have lying around. And then you're going to flip some cards over, and the room will tell you what those cards do. So it might be an event room, and you flip over the card, and it says if it's a spade, it's a trap, and you take damage, or it's an item, and so you put that in your inventory. Or if it's a monster, you flip it over, and then each dungeon's got 4 different monster types based on suit, and that's the kind of monster you're fighting. So it does a lot of really clever things that feel like multi-use cards without ever actually having to get bespoke custom cards for this. You're just playing with the deck, and that tells you what to do. And then it uses that as a timer. So if you don't get through the whole dungeon and the deck runs out, you lose. That's one of the lose conditions. And so far, I got about a 50% win rate on this. I'm really good at the barbarian, and I cannot win with the seer at all. The two heroes that come with the first map pack.
Can't see too good, huh, Harrison?
Nope, I am not a seer. I guess those magic users aren't for me. I'm all about the Zug Zug barbarian life.
Yeah, that's me too.
Yep. Have either of you tried this one or seen this one?
I have not played it, but I followed the campaign pretty closely. From a design aspect, I'm really intrigued by what they're doing with the deck of cards. It kind of reminds me of Flip Town, I think is what it was called. It was like a Western themed game, but it's a flip and write that uses just a standard poker deck
Oh yeah, yeah.
to uh, generate stuff. So this was a really interesting concept to me, especially as I'm working towards creating more of these print and play games, like through our own company, because there's so many components that typical gamer type folks have, and normally we'll pull things like dice or meeples or whatever for our print and play games, but there's plenty of other options like using a poker deck. So this was a really solid pick. I would say.
Yeah, definitely worth checking out. That is another Postmark Games game. That is 52 Realms Adventures. All right. Do you want to take us to your second pick, Corey?
I would love to. Nothing more. My second pick, okay, segue situation here is that it is also a game that includes or involves a 52 card deck of cards. However, you take out, I think it's like numbers 2 through 5 from the deck. And this one is called Wizard in Training. And Wizard in Training was a game that funded on Kickstarter in June. And we actually got an early copy of it to play through. And I played it a couple of times before going on vacation. I actually took it on vacation with me, and we played it in the car while we waited out the rain while we were hiking. So it's like super portable, as most of these games are. And the designer is not listed on BGG, but I know from interacting with him, the name is Hep Sosing, and it is coming from a company called Thinky Filler Games. Basically, we're just looking at one sheet of paper. It's a sandbox of all sorts of different images and icons scattered all around the map. And drawing different cards will activate and upgrade different abilities based on their suits. They allow you to move that many spaces on the map, spending movement to either move through a box or to pick up the item inside of the box. And each of those things is associated with some different track around the map, which is either just increasing your scoring potential or getting different unlocks that combo with other unlocks, or maybe giving you a chance at defeating a monster in a dungeon by drawing some cards and seeing if the numbers match up with what you got on your sheet. So lots of different things here. And I've played this one quite a few times now because it's quick and it leaves you thinking, I wonder what it'd be like to try that other strategy when I do it again. And then you do it. And it's like, oh, that was fun, but I didn't get to explore that other strategy. You do it again. So I admire games that leave you thinking like, what else is there to see rather than just doing everything. And this is one of those games. I think it does a good job of that.
Hmm. Yeah, I saw the pictures of this because I haven't heard of it, and it just looks like a giant grid of nonsense. And the fact that it's called Wizard in Training made me very excited,
Yeah.
without really knowing why. So
Hmm.
uh, I want to know more. I want to play this. I want to try this. This looks super cool.
Yeah. It's like graphically pretty. I don't mean this in a bad way, but pretty bland. Like it, there's not a lot to look at here, but I think it actually benefits from that because with games like this, sometimes it's hard to make your marking on the map in a way that's legible. At least I struggle because my handwriting is so bad, and I'm usually not using the right kind of pen or whatever. But this one, it's bright enough where you can see everything, and I appreciate that because it is a lot of stuff. Like Harrison said, you're just looking at icons all over the place. But I had a lot of fun with this one. I think Nikki did too.
We got to have one of those game days soon.
Mm-hmm. We're gonna have to have a print and play game day.
Parker, if you're in Wisconsin, let us know. You can join us.
That's a bit of a drive, but I'll let you know if I'm ever on that side of town.
What,
Fair,
10,
fair.
10, 15 minutes? Just kidding.
Oh, for sure.
Cool. So that is Wizard in Training from Thank You Filler Games. And on to the next.
Yeah, so my next one is actually one that I haven't played, full disclosure. But I am super intrigued by the um, dice mechanism that's in it. It's called Hanzo Light and Shadow,
Mhm.
by publisher Criardo. They're an Italian publisher. Um, but yeah, so it is about the famed ninja Hanzo, and he's trying to recover his 10 weapons that are scattered around this map. But the way that you're moving and collecting is by using the dice faces that you roll, and they give you specific rules for how you can pick things up and which spaces you can access. If you roll a 3, you've got the 3 dice pips in a row. So you are standing in the center pip and you have access to 2 diagonal spaces.
Oh, that's cool.
Um,
Hmm.
like there's like an interesting spatial understanding of the dice faces
Mm-hmm.
instead of just this is a 3 or this is a 5 or this is whatever. So
Yeah.
I'm really curious how it functions like in practice. But from what I've heard from reviewers and such, it is pretty intuitive and interesting. But just like from a design aspect, like that was a really interesting.
Where did you hear about this? The Board Game Geek page is just the title and a brief
Yeah,
description.
the
No
BGG
images or
page is
anything.
kind of sad. Yeah, it was just recently on Kickstarter, so
Okay, so you found it there.
yeah, it was recommended by a reviewer that I follow, and initially what caught me was the art because it's got this really cool like Japanese painting style to it.
Mm-hmm.
And as I was scrolling, I was like, "Wait a second, what are they doing with with this dice?"
Yeah.
Um, and so yeah, so I backed it. I just haven't gotten a chance to table it just yet, but
Nice.
looks really interesting.
Looks like a provide your own meeples kind of situation, which I'm sure everyone with board games has plenty of those sitting around.
Yeah, reading on their page on the Kickstarter, it says there's two setups. There's the minimal setup, which just requires the print, pencil, and 4 dice, and then the actual upgraded components. You provide the upgrades. provides additional setup for meeples and cubes. So it looks
Mm,
like just some way to make it have a little more presence, right?
Yeah.
yeah.
So you can just kind of mark things with the pencil and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, that looks interesting too. The 1v1, it's like almost like a combat element is definitely a new thing to print and play for me. As I said, the traditional climbing up tracks is where my head is usually at with these things. So it's always cool to see a different take on it.
Name of the game one more time.
Hanzo Light and Shadow.
All right, and I'm going to round us out with our very last one here, and this one caught my attention quite a while ago because it did look and feel so similar to Cartographers in the first place. But after playing it, I can tell you it is not at all similar. This is a very unique experience. You should check out Gem Getter Pro, and this is self-published by Daniel Young. So this one I was just able to get on P&P Arcade, Print and Play Arcade for free to check out. So Gem Getter Pro is a roll and write style where you are drawing polyomino shapes into a mine, and every gem type that you overlap your shape with, you get to collect. And so in the base version that I was playing on this map, there are 10 different kinds of gems to collect and two non-gem types to collect, and they all have different scoring conditions on them. So this is very much like which resource do I want to try to focus? What can I get this turn? Sort of deal. And then you only have 9 rounds, and each round you're rolling 2 dice, and each one is going to correspond to a different shape or set of shapes that you can draw, and you're only going to be able to draw one of them. Um,
Mhm.
this is another one of those that plays into the 1 or 100. So you can all use the same dice and try to compete for a high score, or you can just play it solo like I did because it goes pretty quick. Um, it I was skeptical at first, and I really like this one. This is really cool, and it brings up another point about print and play, especially games like this. They can include just tons of expansion or module material in the form of like different maps or different setups. And in this case, they have different maps that you can dig into, or different roll sheets, so different roll results that give you different shapes based on your rolls. So you can really pair those around and have a much different experience every game.
Nice. I don't know what it is about the name Gem Getter Pro, but that to me just sounds like a Harrison game right there. I think it's because you introduced me to Cookie Clicker.
Yeah, the Gem Getter Pro name does kind of feel a little mobile, freemium, free to play, gamey weirdness, and the graphic design on this almost kind of pushes towards that too. But don't let it fool you. There's a very cool game here, and it's much thinkier than I thought it was going to be.
Ah,
Yeah,
cool.
I'm
Worth
looking at
checking
a
out.
photo on BGG right now where it's all filled out and all the different set collecting things is really like spiking the dopamine in my brain right now. I'm not even playing it.
Yep.
This looks like a really cool one. With Shiny Pigeon, we're working on a Christmas game that we're planning on releasing closer to the holidays that uses polyominoes in a similar way where you're drawing them out. But yeah, no, I'm definitely interested in trying this one out.
There are a couple different versions of the game too. There's another one called Gem Getter Galactic, which is more of a space mining theme. That one is $1 on PNP Arcade right now, or $3 normally. So uh, clearly that's the superior version because it costs 300 times more. No, that's not
Here,
how math works. It costs a, a so much more because the other one's free. It must be better, infinitely better.
Still less than a cup of coffee.
Yep.
you've referenced PNP Arcade a few times. I think we should like officially call it out on the print and play episode that we're doing. What is it?
Yes. So pnparcade.com. So that's short for print and or print n play arcade. So that is a website just full of print and play games. Before we went up to this episode, I wasn't sure that I knew enough about print and play to make some good recommendations here. And Corey was like, just go check out this cool website. And now I know everything there is to know about PNP games. Uh, uh, So there's everything on here. There are print and play expansions and content for existing games. There's print and play versions of existing games. I'm seeing Valyria Kingdoms on here. Grey
Yeah,
Gnome games, um,
Mintworks.
Mintworks. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff on here. So this is I did not know that this existed before, and I'm hesitant to call it like the itch.io of board games. But I don't know, with my little
Oh,
knowledge of
that
the
would be
world,
pretty accurate.
I'm gonna
To be
call it the
honest.
itch.io of board games.
There you
So
go.
yeah, they got a
Nice.
whole section called free games too.
I
Yeah.
think one thing to call out, in regards to all of, I think all of the mentions that we've done here, um, these are all either no assembly or very light assembly, in terms of like what you actually need to do to craft the game after you print it. There's a
Oh yeah.
lot of levels to print and play, just as like a fair warning for anybody who is like trying to get into this genre. Um, there's plenty of tutorials and stuff on the internet, but so don't be like warded off by this. But there are a lot of higher complexity builds that you can find online and through Print and Play Arcade, which is why I bring it up. They're not all just print it and start playing. There are
Mm,
some that you need to cut cards,
yeah.
um, like create player boards. Like there's some complex games out there.
It seems like that's pretty well laid out in the instructions here. Is like, a lot of them will tell you there's print and play details, page count 7, components 18 cards, additional components needed none. It'll kind of give you an idea of what you're up against.
Yeah, for sure.
Board gamers are pretty creative about their customization of gaming components, so this is probably just like in everyone's wheelhouse anyway. But if you're not, then may I introduce you to FedEx, Kinko's? They do a good job with that stuff over there. Pretty
Yeah,
simple.
that's true. That's true.
Yeah. Oh.
Cool. All right. Well, Corey, you want to run down the list for us?
Yes, I do. My picks were Rise of the Oakdale, Wizard in Training. Parker picked Voyages and Hanzo, Light and Shadow. And Harrison picked 52 Realms Adventures and Gem Getter Pro.
Get those gems.
Yep.
All right. Well, that's the end of another episode of Adamantly Analog. Before we let all of you go, I mean, this is an audio podcast. You can go whenever you want, but we'll know. We'll know. Just want to give Parker another thank you for joining us today. And do you want to give any more shout outs, Shiny Pigeon, or you know what? We'll throw a link to your website in the episode description to make sure people can check you out. But anything else you want to leave us with?
No, I appreciate you guys having me on. This was a fun discussion. Print and play doesn't always get as much appreciation as I necessarily think that it should. So I love kind of talking about this sort of thing and seeing other people enjoying this little niche of the board game hobby. But yeah, no. Starfront Scouting Academy is on Kickstarter July 15th. So definitely go and help us bring it to life. It is discounted during the Kickstarter, but will be available for folks for download afterwards if you do end up missing the campaign. So
Oh yeah, that's the smart thing to do. We'll put a link to the Kickstarter in the episode description too.
Yeah.
that would be perfect.
As well as a link to a video of how to play Starfront Scouting Academy. Because that would be a missed opportunity not to.
Awesome. Well, thanks for having me on, guys.
Yeah, thank you so
Thanks for
much for
coming.
joining us. Thanks everyone for listening, and have a good one.
Adamantly Analog is Corey Murphy and Harrison Dunn. Original themes and bumper music by Corey Murphy. Reach us at adamantlyanalog@gmail.com. Thank you for listening.